Okay, so this is a pretty heavy commentary, so I want to forewarn people because we're going to get into some dark areas. So let me just provide the general outline because some people are like, I am so confused. So the basic lay of the land is Aaron Smith-Levin is a very big YouTuber. I don't want to say what he does is anti-Scientology, but he does a lot of mocking jokes and news updates on the official Church of Scientology. And he has quite a bundle of scandals, money scandals, romantic scandals, just a lot of scandals with the guy. And he was formerly with the Aftermath Foundation, named after the TV show, but he had a massive split with Mike Render, a former mentor and friend, and Render died recently. And so the community, the SPTV community, became very fragmented and torn between Aaron's people, who included Nora, Serge, and his current girlfriend, Jenna Miscavige. Oh, by the way, Aaron is married. And this other side with Mike Render, Claire Headley, Mark, and other people. And there are many other factions, and that's sort of what we're going to get into. And it's a very weird story, but one of these allies of Aaron's, who now is his current enemy, is DOA, a very strange radical activist who's been part of Black Lives Matter, the January 6th movement. Yeah, he's just been in a ton of different movements left and right. And he hooked up with Lara FM, who is an ex-Scientologist, and they had a romantic relationship, became more critical of SPTV and Aaron in particular. And I should say I have a little bit of a drama with an ex-Scientologist. I'm not going to reveal the full conversation. Unfortunately, it is very relevant in terms of all these shifting alliances. So at this point, Alonzo, a very good researcher and ex-Scientologist, is hooked up with DOA, and DOA has this ally, Chee, who has done a series of very funny mocking videos against Aaron. So I will be very clear that I do like Chee, and I thought her videos were very funny. I've been in her chat quite a few times. I have to say her videos are very well done. But apparently she had a very deep, dark side, and that's where we're going to get into, well, the Chris Hansen issue. And I will just be very brief with my issue with this ex-Scientologist, that they're making a lot of wild accusations and slanders and insults. And this is the record now, that she, her husband, and some other guy, like it or not, are linked to DOA and linked to this scandal. They can deny it all the pleas, but she is well aware of what's happening. She's now pleading ignorance, but she was told directly, yes, you were communicating with DOA. DOA has this court case. And she's like, oh, okay, I support that. So I don't know what she's trying to do, gaslighting me and lying about me, but it is what it is. So let's get to it. So what is so bad about Chee? What is the problem? Well, I explored this in another video, so I'm going to keep that very brief. I'm just looking at additional evidence given by Mexican Longhair as well as Zero Dark Tony. Let's be very clear, Zero Dark Tony did a lot of the heavy work, but Mexican Longhair did a good review. So essentially, Chee, as a practical joke or as a part of her online persona, decided to mock and pursue Lorne. Who is Lorne? Well, on the Chris Hansen show, yes, that Hansen show, To Catch a Predator, Lorne was featured, and Lorne was caught red-handed. And if you know the Chris Hansen show, you know how that goes. But it makes him stand out, apparently, and I was not aware of this. I watched a few of the To Catch a Predator. I don't want to make it seem like I'm pure, but honestly, after a while, I just found this stupid and lame. I just went on, with my life. But some part of the fandom became really obsessed with it, including Chee. So she became part of this extreme To Catch a Predator fandom, and they decided to pursue some of these people even after their episodes were aired, or these people were punished, or they went away. And one of them was Lorne, although she went after some other people, and they ended up in some very weird, tragic situations. But I'm trying to simplify everything. So basically, she fooled Lorne for a while, impersonating someone else, and I guess decided as a practical joke to finally reveal herself, and Lorne was shocked and embarrassed, and he looked like an idiot. And there was just a slew of videos of him being mocked, and people constantly poking at him, and so on and so forth. He's a bit of a lolcow. And I guess she just wanted to add her contribution in terms of mocking. So they had a good old time. He took the joke pretty well, and they were laughing and smiling. And so there's a photo of them together. So what does this mean exactly? People who like Chee are saying, listen, she's just mocking and going after these predators. She's doing good work. What's the problem? Well, it does have a much deeper, darker, sinister side, because it's not just Lorne. Apparently she went after a lot of people. And this is YouTube. I cannot say fully what she did. Mexican Longhair provided a lot of details. So basically, she caught up with one of these guys and decided to do, again, some impersonation. Got very hot and heavy and sexual, for lack of a better word. And, well, no nice way of putting it, the guy ended up the unaliving. Yes, that is what happened. And Mexican long hair is like, well, he is who he is. We shouldn't feel sorry. I don't think that's the question. I think the more serious question is, what are we doing here? As far as I know, Chee is not a professional legal, right, law investigator. She doesn't have a background with the FBI or CIA. So this is just a freewheeling vigilante doing some questionable, sick jokes and thrills. Now, again, you could look at it two ways. One is she's just mocking and going after predators, or she's doing some pretty outrageous, borderline stuff. And I am usually libertarian of free speech, right? Do what you will, do whatever you want, right? If it's consenting adults, whatever, don't care. They do whatever between them. However, yeah, this is very borderline, and this is where it gets more sinister and problematic. And I'll apologize to Aaron on one thing. So, Chee, a while ago, made a funny statement, which is apparently true, that she tracked down some of Aaron's daughters. And let's be very clear, the daughters they're not young, they're grown up. Uh, like some of them are teenagers. He's got a couple of daughters. Some of them are teenagers, some of them are old enough to vote. So, trying to keep clear of the age range. So Chee mockingly said, "Oh, I found your daughters on Facebook. I'm going to reach out to them." And Aaron panicked and did this weird post saying, "You stay away from my daughters, you weirdo." And listen, we all know it's not a real threat. It's just what it is. She was just trying to rile Aaron, and Aaron was riled, and he's trying to be phony. I'm a good father guy, even though he's a terrible father. But now we have this very sinister element, which makes it a little bit more very unclear what we're up to. So, good faith, Chee is not a PD at all. She just does very extreme internet humor, and that is it. We're all being stuffy. We need to just develop a better sense of humor. Or, and this is a part of her persona, her fake persona, to lure these men, she would impersonate, young people and use very, and I do mean very alarming language. So, putting aside the legal issues that she may have broken a few laws, we've got that legal issue. It's like, what exactly are we doing here? Because DOA, as well as her and the others in LA and elsewhere, routinely go and attack, yell at, slander people for even the suspicion, just a suspicion that possibly they're predators. They go crazy and just start sending all these alarmisms, all this tantrums, just get into these paroxysms of rage. But here she is doing something very suspicious. DOA doesn't care. He seems to be aware of her antics and defended her using very graphic language, and seemed to be basically covering up what she was up to. So it's just very alarming, and it gets even a lot worse. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this is not the only PDF issue or crisis. There's another guy in the background too. And I'll be fair, I don't know if DOA knows this, and technically DOA is not responsible, right? It's a little bit out of his control. Nevertheless, we're still stuck that on the one hand, DOA has this very extreme rhetoric against Aaron, against the predators, and so on and so forth. But then among his own people, he's basically turning a blind eye. That's, I think, a very generous interpretation. He's turning a blind eye to very suspicious activities that otherwise he would label by his standard PD. And he would think that should be exorcised, exiled, ridiculed, and mocked, and driven out of the community. And in fact, one of the good points he makes against Aaron is that Aaron has actively invited a lot of predators. And now Aaron, he just did this recently, had a protest with young kids. 2 young boys showed up at one of his protests. And he was happy to involve them. So both sides look really, really bad, because there are some pretty alarming scenarios that can happen. I am speculating here. What if Chee gets careless and some of the information she got from Facebook about Aaron's daughters or other young people around Aaron, like these young little activists or whoever they are? What happens if that falls into the wrong hands? Like people like Lauren and his friends. Like something really terrible could happen. Now, Aaron is responsible ultimately. He's the worst guy here. By far. He is much worse than DOA. However, This is like getting into some very alarming territory where we are endangering a lot of people, young people, old people, underage victims. Why? Because Chee wants to play out this very extreme internet persona. And ostensibly it's to catch predators, but apparently it's just to have these sick little thrills. And again, that is her life. However, we should be very clear this could introduce some pretty dangerous elements. And these things can get out of control. Right now, like this Lorne guy seems like a complete lolcow. He's not really dangerous. However, that is him. That does not mean the next guy is as benign or a pushover. Again, it is the equivalent of going into the zoo, letting out the bears, and having fun with them, poking them with your spear at a safe distance, saying, well, as long as I'm safe, I'm okay. And hey, guess what? If some teenagers are nearby and the bear gets out of control, well, it's not my fault. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just very alarming. Let me just close off with that ex-Scientologist, where I forewarned her, you are getting involved in some very deep, dark elements. And all she did was bark at me. Well, you better do this. You better do that. You better do this. You better do that. Okay, fine. Warning given. And listen, a lot of these people do good work. They do a lot of bad work, but they do some good work. This ex-Scientologist, DOA, Chee, even Aaron. It's very rare, but even he does some good work. But all these people are getting deeper and deeper, inviting these very extremist elements like predators, Nazis, fascists. It's just getting crazy. It's just getting very crazy. Now, I'm not involved directly with any of these people. Certainly, this ex Scientologist, clearly she's made clear, oh, we're not going to be friends anymore. Okay, great, fine, whatever. This is your headache. This is the stuff you, Alonzo, and DOA are cooking up. We're going to be poking the bear for fun and sick thrills. We're going to be poking the predators for funsies and internet thrills and clicks and fame and fortune. Okay, fine. That's your legacy now. It's not serious research. It's not serious activism. It's this very sick internet egos and personas to do what? To be part of this extreme fandom related to Catch a Predator? It just looks all kinds of fishy. It is very demented stuff. Hopefully nobody gets hurt, but I can see where the road is going, and it's not good. I'm getting off this train wreck, but you make your own choices, guys, if you want to stay blind and let this thing keep going. But I'm walking away from this insanity, and that is me.